Today, we are going to be finishing the drift tuck. Drift tuck. Why do I keep saying that? Today, we are going to be finishing the drift truck. We're putting the last touch that we need to put on it before it goes and gets wired up. And that is the exhaust. At the beginning, you saw a bunch of exhaust pieces over there. We got some resonators, we got some mufflers, we got some V-bands, we got some piping. The exhaust setup for this truck, it's going to be a dual into 2 resonators. Those resonators will then join into 1 muffler and then out the side as a single exit. I know a lot of you guys were telling me to do a true dual exit exhaust with like an X pipe or an H pipe, but I did a lot of research on what sounds the best and what performs the best with the 1UZ, and everybody said that you should do a dual with resonators into a single small muffler and out the side or out the back. Single exit exhaust will be easier for me to make because this is my first exhaust I've ever made. It's also gonna be lighter, it'll be smaller, and there really isn't any room to do a dual exit side exhaust on this truck anyway, because there's a fuel tank on the other side. So making an exhaust shouldn't be too difficult. It's relatively self-explanatory. You cut the pipes to where you want them to go, you weld them together. The one really important thing is to make sure to get super straight cuts because you can't really fill gaps with a TIG welder very easily, so everything has to meet flush. Before we get to making the exhaust, I'm going to finish reassembling the truck, so that means putting the shifter plate on the trans tunnel. That means putting the 2 radiator hoses in. So I'll do that real quick, and then I'll show you what we have for the exhaust, and we can start working on the exhaust. It's nice to see this thing sitting on the ground again with the engine back in, but no longer sketching. Lower radiator hose is on, upper radiator hose is on. We could fill this engine with water and oil, but I'm not going to. It's pointless to fill it until we're gonna start it. Let's work on this exhaust here. Back up she goes. So here we are under the truck. We have 2 small Vibrant Performance resonators that are gonna go roughly right there, right off of the headers. In order to get them to clear both of these cross members, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of an S. After that, the passenger side will snake and connect with the driver's side into a 10-inch merge collector with a V-band on the end. Then after this V-band, it goes into a small Dynamax Performance muffler and then out the side. Everything in the exhaust is all flow through. It should perform really, really well. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with these S's. In order to make these S's, I'm pretty much going to cut a section out of the 180-degree turn and then cut another section out and rotate it the other direction. I thought I was going to be able to tack together the entire exhaust without filler rod, but you can't, not really with TIG. So I went to the store, got some stainless steel filler rod. The exhaust is coming along. It looks good from here. I will say I'm definitely frustrated and surprised at how much harder it is to weld stainless steel. Building the exhaust, it's not hard at all. Welding it, oh man, it's very difficult to get good looking welds, and it's really making me frustrated. I'm a perfectionist, so when I see these bad welds, just want to kill something. Those are probably the best of the day, and they're not that great. How do you do that? I was talking about my troubles welding stainless steel on Twitter, and a lot of you guys said to watch the Fabrication series, I think is their YouTube channel. I did watch them, and it helps a little bit. I found out that I'm doing some things wrong with my welding, and I've got some things wrong with my actual welding setup. A couple of main things I was doing wrong is I was using too small of a gas nozzle. I was also using way too high of amperage. I was using like 80 amps on an 18 gauge piece of stainless steel, which is a little bit too much. Since I was using so much amperage, I had to go really quickly, and I just can't keep up with going really quickly. So I'm gonna turn it down to like 60, 50 amps. Try to take it slow, but the other thing with stainless, you kinda have to go fast. So, it kinda sucks. Instead of continuing with the exhaust, I'm gonna take a break, and then I'm just gonna practice welding and welding and welding. That is like the most mentally challenging thing I've done in a really long time. It's just so frustrating because I can't figure it out. I've watched everything there is to watch on YouTube, and I still can't figure it out. Super inconsistent. Sometimes it looks fine. Sometimes I just blow through the metal. I'm not gonna be able to do it for a while. I'm determined to be able to do it eventually, but it's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do is finish building the exhaust, tack everything together, and then I will bring it down to one of my friends. I'll either bring it to Mike's shop or to Dan's shop. If you guys remember, Dan was the one who welded up my exhaust for Molly, and that has held up amazingly, so I'll bring it to one of them once it's all tacked up and they can just weld it up. I'm definitely really frustrated and a little disappointed, because I really thought I was going to be able to do this, but I don't want to try to weld it and then just ruin it and have to, you know, start over, so. The first half of the exhaust is all, I keep hitting my head on things, well, my helmet on things. First part of the exhaust is all tacked together. I think it looks really awesome. We have the headers, and it does the little S to the resonators, and it goes into a 2, into a 1 with a V-band on it. It's already supporting itself right now with the exhaust hanger right there. I used some extra polyurethane bushings I had from the Miata. So now we're gonna do the 3-inch muffler, and then up, out, and there. We have to cut the ends of the muffler off because I have the stupid holes for clamping stuff. And my Dremel just broke. The lock to hold the nut up here in place to change the tip stripped out, so I can't change the tip, and the tip just shattered, so this is a piece of junk now. That's my third Dremel I've gone through in the past 3 years. That's ridiculous. These things are pieces of crap. We're all good. I found my other Dremel that was in the closet, but the exact same thing was wrong. The lock is stripped out. Piece of junk. Screw you. Deburring the inside of these pipes is very important, and now I have to buy another over-expensive Dremel that's gonna break in like 3 months. Got myself a tool that won't break, a file. exhaust. I made it exhaust. I didn't weld it, but I made it. I made it. Wow, my goodness. I'm tired. I am super pleased with how this turned out. As you can tell, it is currently supporting itself. There's only 2 exhaust hangers. I'll probably add another one. It does seem pretty sturdy due to the fact that these are polyurethane bushings and they're really stiff, so that's really good. Everything is tacked together. I'm gonna go ahead, go through the entire exhaust and add a couple more tacks, just because I'm transporting this a decent distance and I don't want it to warp or break. We got our headers up here, goes into a little S, the 2 resonators. Passenger side resonator comes and swoops over to this merge collector, and it goes into a 3-inch Dynamax race bullet muffler, up, nice exhaust hanger, around, and out. This is not how this is gonna look. I'm gonna make a little plate that kind of goes over this, that's black and is riveted in, and I'll have a much smaller hole cut out for the exhaust. I just did this because I didn't exactly know the right position of the exhaust. It looks really good, and look, it's a pretty stiff tip. It doesn't hit anything. It's a little bit lower than I wanted. Look at the truck from sideways. It hangs about 2 inches lower than the frame. It's not like we can really put the exhaust much higher anyway. I can't even fit my fingers in between there, so. The stock exhaust was much lower, as you can tell, because this hanger is touching the muffler. If you're wondering about the drive shaft, let me show you my makeshift drive shaft. The nice thing about this axle is that the diff is not in the center. It's actually off to the right a little bit, which makes it much easier to clear the exhaust. That's about straight to the transmission. I'm gonna make a drive shaft hoop just to make myself feel a little better. But yeah, I was definitely disappointed that I couldn't weld it up myself, but I'm glad I'm smart enough to accept my failure and get it welded up by someone else, because it would suck to do all this effort and then ruin it by trying to weld it and, well, not being able to, so. So this is the quick little exhaust plate I made. I'll modify it a little bit and I'll paint it black and I'll rivet it in. So I think that'll look pretty good. I think I'm gonna round off that edge and that edge a little bit more. I would like the hole to be a little bit smaller, but I don't want it to rattle. So I think this is good. It's a 4-inch hole and a 3 1/4 inch exhaust. I'm really tired, I'm really exhausted. It was 2 full days of work, 2 full days of frustration, but after I gave up the idea of welding it and I just tacked it together, it was so fun. Probably the most fun I've ever had, just like cutting things, deburring things and they fitting up perfectly and just tacking them together and everything just works. And it's so satisfying. I really like building custom exhausts. Sunday, I'm gonna drive down to my friend's shop, have him weld it up, so that'll be all good. And then Monday, the truck goes to Mike's shop to get wired up. Then Tuesday, Audrey and I move out. So I am going to be spending this weekend and a lot of next week moving. I am gonna make some videos about it. I'm gonna make some videos about the new apartment, but if there are a lack of videos, it's because we are busy packing, we're busy moving and doing all that. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. I really like the side exit. I really like all the mufflers and resonators I used. I really like the way everything turned out. The V-bands, everything's perfect. I wish it was a little bit higher, but shouldn't be too bad. Instead of doing this, I could have done an X pipe right here, but there's nowhere else for the other exhaust to exit. So that's why. I like the single exit more anyway. You never think something so small and simple would be so difficult to make and time consuming, but I mean, every single bend and thing, it's a cut, it's a grind, okay, I'm gonna stop talking. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.